episode 593 comes to you live on the 16th of November 2022. This cycle repeats itself every 4 years, and every fourth year it gets more and more hysterical. What am I talking about? Just take a guess. Go through newspapers, go through news channels, go through pseudo media, ask your friend what is the latest craze right now about. There is one sport which, in this imaginary, volatile world, unites everyone. Unlike another sport whose tournament just went by, of which very few individuals enjoy it, the other sport has a more burgeoning fan base, and that's the Euro Cup and the Football World Cup or the Soccer World Cup. It happens every 4 years. The world stands still every 4 years. There is mass hysteria. And the strange part is that Indians are part of this mass hysteria, though India has never ever participated in a football World Cup, and that shows the inadequate infrastructure as far as Indian football is concerned, that India can't go beyond a rank of 100, they can't go to a rank of 50 and slowly to among the top 5, 10 teams. No, because we think India doesn't have that team or doesn't have something in it to play. Neither the media, nor the Football Association, nor the subsequent administrative bodies are even interested. If they're listening to it, yes, feel ashamed, bow down your head in shame. But whether India participates or not, India will participate in the World Cup and they'll watch it. There'll be mass hysteria. They'll do anything to watch the World Cup. They'll come up with excuses. Timings won't matter whether the match starts at 7 p.m. or 10 p.m. A football match can only last for 2 hours, but we'll be interested in the pre-match gupshup and the post-match gupshup and when is the next match. I'm sure people would have wanted to book tickets to the venue, but the sheer volume of individuals already there may not have allowed it. And we're excited because this time we have scientific stadiums, computers controlling everything, which I find it to be a little ridiculous, but that's the way things work and that's the way the world works, and we accept it. The world becomes fanboys of these football players. We already are. Mohamed Salah, we are crazy about this player. Messi, Ronaldo, though they are a mess. Messi, Ronaldo are not even for me top players, but somehow they have manipulated the world and they are top players. They earn enough that they don't have to, that their seventh, eighth generations don't have to work at all. Such is the magnanimity on which they receive their paychecks from different teams, whether it's their home team or it's the domestic structure they play for. And therefore comes the question, who are the favorites for this World Cup? In a normal World Cup, it's very difficult to say who are the favorites, let alone in a World Cup where you have 32 teams. But I have marked out a few teams who can be favorites in this particular World Cup: Brazil, Argentina, England, Russia, Portugal. You never know. One of these teams may go on to win, but they have to go through a lot of hoops. There's a round of 32, then there's a round of 16, a round of 4, then the semi-finals and the finals. 1 month of sheer hard work will happen. Newspapers are going to increase their quantity of pages. And what does that mean? They're going to make sure that the last 2, 3 pages of a sports page is dedicated to information about the Football World Cup, information about the venues, the biodata of players. If there are more than 15, 20 players, they will at least eke out 7, 8 of the grades of each team. You already know the way in which the Euro Cup happened last year and the way in which people were watching. No one left their seats in their homes to avoid missing a minute. That's going to continue this year as well. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Magazines have already started putting together pages about the Football World Cup, about the expectations, but not one Indian magazine, not one Indian newspaper has ever talked about India's chances. Nobody has lobbied that no, India should do something so that India get a chance. But as I said, India will not get a chance to play this particular football World Cup for another 1,000 years or maybe even more. It's not going to happen. It's going to be practically impossible that India can even participate. It's a matter of shame. It's a matter of putting your heads down in shame and not trying to shed crocodile tears. But yes, if any of these teams are eliminated from the first round, expect crocodile tears. Because, and I'm talking about India, you, and especially countries which have this football crazy environment, such as the southern states, couple of eastern states, Delhi as a state is beginning to get that craze in. People are going to go to restaurants and watch late night. Restaurants will exploit the situation, offer discounts, offer drinks, offer snacks which will keep on coming, keep on coming, keep on coming. People will keep on consuming, keep on consuming, keep on consuming. You can expect betting to happen. Which player will score the most? Which team will get the most goals in the entire World Cup? Which player will have the most impact? That's going to be things which people are looking forward to. And that's something which makes me, well, it's interesting, but there's one thing. If India is not participating in this Football World Cup, then I see no chance in me ever watching it. I may have access to the cable and the channel, but it doesn't mean that I have to watch it. Yes, I don't have to watch the tournament. Maybe I will just to have some feigned interest, but then who do I support? I have no connection to any of these teams. I do not know the players. I do not know the players involved in this. So, which one of these teams is your favorite team? Do you have a favorite team? Are you going to wear the team jersey and sit and watch? Because you will see ads regarding this starting very soon. You're going to see celebrities endorsing the World Cup. You're going to see fans, normal fans, being in the stadium watching, cheering, an Indian fan waving the flag of Brazil or Argentina or England or Russia or Portugal or any other team. There'll be sympathy for some teams, there'll be slightly unsympathetic views for other teams. I won't name the teams, but that's how things are. So, which one is your favorite team? Can you tell me? If you can, then please do. I'll be very interested to know that why are you watching as an Indian? What interest do you have when our own team is not part of it and won't be there for another 1,000 years? But our newspapers are going to exploit this situation like nothing they have done before. It happens every year. Every year, every 4 years, this happens. And every alternate year, Euro Cup happens, Football World Cup happens, Euro Cup happens, Football World Cup happens, and all the domestic tournaments are anyways happening with newspapers giving them more than 95% of coverage. They have stopped the tournament because the World Cup has come. Will all the so called big players from these domestic tournaments be allowed to play? Will they be released on account of the fact that they may injure themselves? And there is also a rumor or maybe a fact that Messi, Ronaldo could be playing their last World Cup. We all appreciate Messi and Ronaldo. They have scored over 1,000 goals between them, maybe 2,000 goals, but they have never won a World Cup for their country. Not even come close. And yet, if Messi were to walk in my area, the entire household would be emptied and they would all be surrounding him, they would be posturing with him, they would be penetrating, they would be touching his feet, they would be making sure that they take photos with him or any of these players like Mohamed Salah. Why will they come? We all know that. Why will they come here? But just for an example, everyone knows Messi. Even if you don't know the sport, you don't watch any sport, you know there's a Messi. Who's a Messi? Ronaldo, well, he's a Ronaldo in the head. Mohamed Salah, a decent player, but then a limited player. And that's how such tournaments are going to be there. So, a world tournament with India not participating in it. In fact, none of India and India's neighboring countries have ever participated in the World Cup. Maybe those countries still on the economic front may not have the infrastructure, but does India have? We can surely have that kind of infrastructure. Therefore, it's a matter of shame that India has never played a football World Cup while we praise our teams like Mohan Bagan and other such teams. We praise our former footballers, but then what's the point of praising footballers who only played at a domestic level? Domestic level doesn't matter. Domestic level has no value unless you play for the nation, which is anyways hysterical, anyways going to be full of crocodile tears. And that's the way things are in sports. That's the way things are exploited in sports. Well, I don't know who's going to win. I'm just presuming that one of these teams could win. There's France, there's Germany, there's Italy in this list also. Whoever wins, good for them. If as an Indian you want to watch, go ahead and watch. But side by side, start lobbying for India to be a part. If you can't do that, then shame on you. If you can't think of the fact that any of the Indian players has the capability to participate at a world stage in front of 70, 80,000 people, and if you think that India cannot play any of these teams, then shame on you. And in the last 2 years, in the World Cup qualifiers, which were not even completed thanks to the pseudo virus coming in, India did not even get a chance. The World Cup qualifiers, at least for Asian World Cup qualifiers, they were stopped. I don't know how the World Cup qualifiers work, but they did not work. But, and one more thing, internet and cable companies will have to reinforce their structures because of the sheer fear of breakdown. If I'm right, and let's say 80% of the world population is going to watch it, then internet and cable companies all over will have to reinforce it. They will have to understand that they cannot have a moment where even 1 millisecond of no service is there. That's going to be a strict no-no. It's going to create bedlam, and electricity companies will have to make sure that there's not even 1 millisecond of a power breakdown. People are going to overreact on this. It doesn't matter if you miss a few minutes because they anyways repeat it through numerous replays, but a replay and a live match are two different things. So internet companies, cable companies, power companies cannot afford to be lax. They know this. Of course, there was a time when you could only watch on cable, on TV. Over the years, we have started watching it on the internet through special subscriptions. But it's the same thing. If there's a power cut, internet won't work. Even your mobile internet cannot sustain how long you will watch because your mobile battery may go down. So you need either your TV or your laptop to watch it. And 1 second breakdown of power or internet or cable will make people go crazy. That's something they have to consider, and I'm sure they would have because now people are in the habit of watching such tournaments, so good for them. But in all this mass hysteria, while people watch the Football World Cup, go crazy, shed crocodile tears, there's a small tournament which is going to happen in a small part of the world, in a small country, of a small sport, the India New Zealand Cup, which is like a fresh start for most players. But who cares? The Football World Cup has come. Who cares about this? Not even 1,000 people are going to watch it. I may watch it, maybe. But then, if you ask someone, what would you rather watch? The India New Zealand tournament or Australia England tournament or a Football World Cup? They'll say Football World Cup by default because it's the Football World Cup. It's just the Football World Cup. It's the sheer magnanimity of the Football World Cup. And timings won't matter. If it goes till 1 a.m., doesn't matter. If it has to start at 5 a.m., doesn't matter. As long as it starts, as long as we can watch it, and as long as the power, internet, and cable companies can not be lax, can provide service throughout, everything will be perfect. I shall talk more about this India New Zealand Cup soon, but that's all for now. Episode 594 will be live on the 18th of November 2022.